Hey, I'm Matt Lownes. Welcome back to LTV. Today is Monday, November 14th, and I'm here with East Hampton Village Mayor Jerry Larsen and Village Trustee Carrie Doyle. How are you guys doing today? Jerry, Carrie, thank you for coming on. Hope you
Very
both
good.
had a great weekend.
Yeah, it was a beautiful weekend. Thanks, Matt. I wanted to introduce Kerry,
Please.
Trustee Kerry Doyle, who was just elected in June. Joined our board and has really done so much work already. I asked her to come on to the show so I could introduce her, and then I also want her to explain to the public a great idea that she came up with about a terrific festival for this spring, and I want her to tell everybody about it. So, Kerry Doyle.
Yeah, Carrie,
Well,
thanks
thank
for
you
coming
for having
on.
me
Yeah.
on the show. It's great to be here, and I've really enjoyed my time. I was elected this June, and I don't come from a political background. I'm a writer, and I also was a screenwriter and worked in magazines and launched magazines in Russia.
Oh, wow.
And then I had a publishing company, which I sold, and I still write. I'm about to have my 14th book published in January, but
Wow,
now I have
congrats.
this. Yeah, thanks, thank you. It's been really exciting. When I met the mayor 2 years ago when he was running, I was really enthused that if someone was reaching out to me as a second homeowner and wanted my engagement, and I'd never, ever been reached out to in all my years. I've always had a house here my entire life, and so it really got me excited, and I really love the direction that he's taking East Hampton and all the improvements, and so it's been fantastic. So
Oh, yeah.
thank you. I'm
You
excited
can-
to be here.
You could feel the energy, the difference over the last few months in the village. Whether it's for good or worse based on people's opinions, you could feel the difference, and that's always a good thing, and that's what we need out here. I mean, you talk about the election last week, the Prop 3 passed, so, the Hamptons are changing,
Right.
for better or worse, but we have some great things coming up that you guys
Yeah, we have a
wanted
lot
to
of
bring
great
to
things,
the
but-
table today.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, we, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, we were elected. As everyone knows, we took the majority of the board. And then this past election, we were able to secure the other two seats, which Kerry and Sarah Amidon have filled. And the board is just so much more cohesive and forward-thinking. And a lot of people might say, oh, it's 5-0 board, but it's really not that way. I mean, we all have the same goals. It's how we're going to get to those goals where we have the different ideas and the different workings. But it's been working great because everyone gets along. Everybody can have a conversation without it turning into, anger and, total disagreement and no more talking.
Cool.
So it's just been night and day. And it's just been wonderful, and having Kerry and Sarah as the two additions to the board has been outstanding.
And like you said,
And you can see it, you can feel it.
yeah, and like you said, everyone has different backgrounds. I mean, you were mainly in the police world, and Carrie just told us her background. I mean, she was publishing over in Russia,
Right.
While you're, parked at the high school talking about Dare or something.
Right.
I mean, not saying one is better than the other, but it adds completely different perspectives, which has to be a positive.
Right. It's just been great,
Yeah.
so. Anyway, I just wanted to say that.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you, Kerry.
No, it's
Thank
been
you,
great.
Sarah.
Yeah,
I know
today-
you're watching.
Today's show is going to be a tad different. Usually we get right into topics, but today the village has brought to me a lot of new events that we wanted to go over. So let's spend some time talking about that. Starting first with December 3rd, it's the first ever and hopefully annual tree lighting ceremony at the Hook Mill, presented by and created by the village. So
Right, so we have a unique situation going on. So we used to have a really strong Chamber of Commerce, and it doesn't really exist anymore. So the East Hampton Village Foundation has taken over a lot of these events.
Okay.
So they are actually coordinating with the police department in the village the Santa Parade, which is an annual event. It's the first Saturday of every December. So that is still happening. And then Kerry had a great idea, and Sarah, I think, right, to put together a tree lighting event. So I'll let Kerry fill
Yeah,
you in
it'll
on
be
that.
at the windmill, and it's going to be about 4:30 when sundown, and we will have carolers and a special guest of honor who will be announced. And the mayor will make a speech and we'll present, and we'll light up the tree as well as all the trees in the village down. It'll be a lot like if anyone's familiar with the Park Avenue tree lighting in New York City, where they light all the trees all the way down the street. And so we will have carolers, and we encourage stores to be open and have some sort of festivities to encourage people to come in. And really, it's one of our efforts to make sure we're bringing people in the village. One of the things we've heard since I came into office anyway, is that we need more off-season programming. We need more events in the villages, and our businesses really want people to come in and a reason to stay open. So this is just one of our efforts, and it'll be fun. And we have, I don't know if we can announce our sponsor
Yeah,
yet.
I think we should.
Okay, we have, the tree lighting will be sponsored by Prada.
Oh, nice.
So that'll be
Wow.
great. Yes,
Cool.
that's exciting because, we have all these new luxury brands in the village, and I know there's some criticism, but the fact is that they are here and they do want to be involved. So this is one of the things that they want to be and say, we're happy to give back to your community. We're going to sponsor this tree lighting. And so that's great. And we hope more luxury brands will follow suit to incorporate themselves into our village.
Yeah, I guess that's what I've always wondered growing up is what do what some people would consider expensive fashion line companies, what is their impact on the community? And this seems to be the first time I've ever heard a brand as big as Prada supporting and sponsoring a local event. Is that something that you've talked to with these companies throughout the summer?
Well, it's very funny because I agree with you.
Yeah.
You don't really see this, but I don't think it's on them. I think it's on us.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's ever asked them.
Really?
Yeah, I
And-
think the thing is their first interaction when they come to the village is the DRB, which is great. The DRB protects our village code. But some of these fashion companies are coming from Europe. They don't know our rules, and so they're asking for things that they get in other locations. And our DRB says no, and that's their first interaction with our village. No, 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 no.
Yep.
For better or worse. But we want to, when we reached out to some of these brands, and we've done this slow roll, Sarah Emmett and I and the mayor, we're all in this business committee, and we're reaching out to them, and they're like, yes, we'd love to be involved. We didn't think you wanted any involvement from us. So once we get in touch with them, they're very receptive, and they've all asked for us to give them a list of the upcoming events to get involved with.
Some of the other things that we found too, a lot of these stores were under the wrong impression that they were not allowed to be open after 6 p.m.
Are you kidding?
No,
Yes.
so
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
So I don't
As
know.
someone who has wondered his entire life,
Right.
why is it so dark driving down? You're telling me the businesses actually
Some of
thought
them,
they
yeah.
couldn't be?
some of them.
Yeah, they have said that. They thought that they couldn't be, they didn't know, and when
Wow.
they thought there were all sorts of restrictions. Also, they don't have any idea, again, a lot of their headquarters are in Europe, that, we still have an off-season community. People are still here. So they said, they're tracking who's here, judging by the flights, the private jets, and the airport, which is not exactly everybody who's shopping in our village. So we have to get them more information so that they will remain open and extend their stay here.
That's
Yeah,
very
and some of
interesting.
the other misinformation that's out there is the fact that people think that you can stop like J. Crew or Prada or Gucci from coming and opening in our village, and it's not true. And I've even heard from people that they say, oh, other communities like Sag Harbor have an ordinance against it. None of that's true. So if these stores are coming, we should really be thinking about it another way, and the big encouragement, I think, should be to keep them open year-round so they can provide year-round employment for people.
Well, yeah, and that's another
And medical
thing is-
benefits and 401ks
Yeah.
and things like that. So our goal would be to have them stay open year-round, and that would be a big help for the community.
Yeah, and I can't speak for the corporate of a lot of these places, but I know for a fact that 90% of the workers throughout the winter and the summer are local.
Of course.
And they get training and they become managers.
Right.
And yes, there's always a city contact with the Prada New York City manager, whatever it may be. But the stores itself are usually actually run by locals.
Yeah.
Right.
So while we think corporate, but those are also local jobs. And
I mean-
to your point, what does it cost Prada to stay open 2
I
extra
mean, I have a
hours?
great example. My stepdaughter
Yeah.
started at El Tahari
Yep.
as an assistant manager, and then she eventually was the manager of their flagship store in Manhattan.
Wow.
So it can take you places.
Right.
So instead of always being so negative, and
Yeah.
that's one thing that I am really against, is the negativeness of everyone who's negative.
The naysayers.
without calling people out
Yeah.
as I normally do. But we'll just leave it at that. I'm really, I get disappointed with the way people are so negative. We really got to turn things around. I mean, you start looking at it as an employment opportunity, a shopping destination for tourism, and it kind of all fits where we live. So
Yeah, and one more note is that some people say they don't like chain stores
Yeah.
or, whatever luxury chain. But then if you took them all away, we'd have no Starbucks, no Chase Manhattan Bank, no Golden Pear, even stores we think are.
no Stop and Shop.
Stop and Shop,
No
Roberta,
IGA.
Roller
No,
Rabbit, all
yeah.
of these are like that's the world we live in, so we can't discriminate. We
No,
just have
yeah.
to enfold them in and embrace
It's funny you
them.
say that. I was thinking about it the other day. You would have no Exxon gas station. You would
Right.
have no Speedway. I mean, you wouldn't really have.
Yeah.
You have maybe two
The only-
stores.
Yeah, the only real thing we that is blocked out here, and I don't even know if this is like illegal blocking or if this has just been opinion over time, is fast food. I
Right.
mean, the closest McDonald's is in Southampton. The closest Burger King is in Southampton. So that's really the only thing.
Yeah, I'm
that's
really
been
not interested in
blocked.
McDonald's or Burger King.
Right.
Are
So
you sure? How about instead of the brewery, we put a McDonald's on toilet? No, I'm kidding. I'm
I'm
kidding.
not getting into the brewery, but I'm not getting into. Let's just make it very clear.
Yeah.
We're not looking for McDonald's or Burger
Yes.
King
No.
or
Right, right,
Wendy's or any of them
No.
to
That's the
come to
difference.
East
Is
Hampton.
it's
Yeah.
not like everything is here.
Right.
Right.
It's
Right.
some. And to your
Yes.
point, though, you wouldn't be able to have gas stations, Stop and Shop.
Yeah.
etc.
Thanks.
If you really start to think about
Yeah.
what you would try to ban,
Mhm.
it would be really difficult.
Yeah.
So-
Well, let's get into the next event.
All right, so-
December 10th.
This is my event.
Yes.
I'm very
Yes.
excited about it. I did this event back in 1997 or 98. We were trying to figure it out the other day. But it was when I was in the police department and I was part of the PBA.
Mhm.
So Santa is going to be arriving by police helicopter, landing in Herrick Park.
Wow.
And then Santa will have a police escort from the park to the movie theater. But prior to that, before Santa lands, we have Dreesen's will be there, giving away free hot chocolate and free donuts. And the donuts are very important because it's a police-related function. So we want to keep the donuts. We want to keep that theme
See, I always
alive.
thought that was just like a myth.
See, I'm allowed to say that because
Yeah.
I'm a
I
retired.
guess it's a myth
Do-
unless it's Dreesen's Donuts.
Yeah,
Right.
or a
Nobody would
stereotype,
turn it
I
down.
guess. I guess
Yeah.
it was always. I always thought it was a stereotype that cops ate donuts, but I
Right.
guess not.
Well, Dreesen's used to be, our police station used to be right on Newtown Lane.
Right.
And Chief Stonemetz, who was my chief at the time, he'd always pull out like a buck and go, I'll buy, you fly, and then
Yeah,
coffee
yeah.
and donuts.
Mhm.
So
So the
anyway,
helicopter lands in
yeah,
Herrick Park.
so Dreesen's is serving hot chocolate and donuts. The helicopter lands. Santa greets the kids, walks to the police motorcade. The motorcade brings them to the movie theater, and then we have a free movie,
The
Polar
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 Express.
Express, that will be for the first 255 people to enter. And Santa will greet everyone at the movie theater, and then everybody will enjoy a free movie. You also get a free popcorn and a free soft drink. So it should be a great event. We've got great sponsors. I mean, I'm going to say the sponsors real quick. We got the East Hampton Village Foundation. We've got Serafina. We've got the Adam Miller Group.
Mhm.
We got Jessica and Rob Zecker.
Mhm.
And, of course, I'm going to forget
Donald.
Donald Zucker and his wife Barbara
Mhm.
also gave a huge donation for this. I said Serafina, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
And the PBA.
and the PBA, of course, the Village PBA is the main sponsor. So it's going to be a great time, and we hope a lot of people and a lot of children come out.
I remember doing it as a kid.
And the Suffolk County
yeah.
Police are the ones with the helicopter, so.
Yeah.
I'm
Should be great.
25 years old. I've probably seen that movie 60, 75 times.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
Oh,
Wow.
my God.
So you'll
Every
be
year
first
at
in line.
Amagansett,
Yeah,
they
he's
made a
first in
show.
line, free popcorn.
Yeah, free popcorn. That's all you had. You had me at free popcorn.
So that's the 10th.
Yes, and then we're going straight in a week later.
Yeah, so just to back up,
Yeah.
the Christmas tree lighting for the first time ever will take place at the Hook Mill
On the
Is-
3rd.
on
Yes.
the 3rd, and that's where the.
What
that's-
time is that going to be at? Because I
Like
forgot
4:30, about
4:30, like
4:30.
when the light is.
Yeah,
starting
it starts to
come
get a
down.
little dark, there'll be a
Yeah.
couple of speeches, and then the lights will come on.
Cool, cool.
So then moving forward to Hanukkah,
Yes.
we have two events. One is sponsored by the Chabad, and that'll be on the 18th of December. It's the first night of Hanukkah,
Okay.
and that will be at 3:30 p.m., and
Okay.
it's also at the Hook Mill.
Okay.
So that'll be the first, the lighting of the menorah.
Mhm.
And then the next night, the Jewish Center of the Hamptons will be doing the first, their lighting, which will be the second day of Hanukkah.
Okay.
So it'll be the 19th at 5 p.m.
Okay.
So it should be a great a great holiday season for everybody. So I think we have everybody covered.
Yep.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And then we have, in April, we have one of the greatest events that the village will ever have seen, and probably will become larger than other events in the village, or other events on the East End. But
We hope
this
so.
was Carrie's idea,
Yeah.
since she's a writer, and it's just a wonderful idea, and we all fell in love with it, and we're all hands on trying to get this,
I fell in love with it
get this
just 10
started.
minutes ago when I was told about it.
Right, so it's going to be called the Hamptons Mystery and Crime Festival, also known as Hamptons Whodunit. So I'm going to let Carrie, who knows
Yeah,
all
please
these
take
authors,
away.
and
Yes,
explain
yes,
more detail
please.
about
Yeah,
this.
I
so
want to hear all about
This is really exciting. Again, our initiative for off-season programming. And who doesn't love a good crime? As we talked about, podcasts it's the hugest
Yeah.
true crime. It's growing. So this will be April 13th. We'll launch with a kickoff party at Maidstone Club. And then the following 3 days will be panels and interviews with mystery and thriller authors, true crime writers, and true crime podcasts. And additionally, the library will be hosting escape rooms and murder mystery games. And we have Hugh King, our village historian, who will be leading tours of the graveyard, talking about Goody Garlic, which his late wife Loretta Ryan wrote the book on. A lot of people don't know that 30 years before the Salem witch trials, East Hampton had the Goody Garlic trial. And so that'll be interesting. And then they're going to have at Village Hall a Who Killed the Mayor reenactment. So you can go in and this is the mayor's.
Who Killed the Mayor? It's excellent, yes.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
Marcos.
Wait till you find out who did it.
Yeah, and there'll be people will come in and be like detectives, wear the booties, have the pads. You try and solve the crime. Then we'll be, walking around the village hall. Additionally, the mayor's going to lead some of his.
Yeah, I have a historic true crime tour that we're going to do, and it's going to run from Sagaponack to Amagansett.
I gotta ask, is that crimes that happened out here?
Yeah, it's all crimes that have happened between the 1930s and the 1970s.
I gotta ask.
And actually, even more recent was the Ted Ammon murder.
I don't know about that one, but what I would love to know, from your opinion, what is the worst crime that's ever happened out here? While we're on the topic.
Well, there was one gentleman in Sagaponack, which is going to be on the tour, that was murdered in his house. He was shot 5 or 6 times. They still have never solved that crime.
Really?
Yeah, and it took place in Sagaponack.
What year was that?
Yeah, what decade was this?
1965. 1965.
And so that's the most mysterious one, or that's the worst one you think we've had out here?
That's there has been some others. There was a young girl who was only 8. She was kidnapped from Nassau County, and she was killed in Montauk and buried at Montauk Point. So there's been a lot of gruesome things. There was another gentleman who murdered 3 people, execution style, the last one being in West Hampton. And he was sentenced to death, wound up appealing. His sentence was not overturned, but there was no more death penalty back in the in the 60s or whatever it was, and he went up on life in prison, and then he was released in 1986, and he was living in Syracuse.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean he's dead now, but it's just amazing to me. You could execute 3 people and only serve 25 years and be out after he should have been,
Oh yeah, no crime is, and that's
he
why
was sentenced to death.
No, but Jerry, to your point, this is why true crime and crime writing has always been popular. It's definitely more niche pre-2010. But my dad's been reading Patterson for my entire life, James Patterson fiction. Right. But now, as Carrie and I were talking before the show, ever since 2012 when Serial came out, true crime is the biggest increase in podcasts.
Yes.
Like if you go to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen, there's going to be true crime.
Right.
And on Netflix, what comes out nowadays? Jeffrey Dahmer, this
That's
guy,
the most popular show.
this guy, this, and I think a lot of it stems down to your point. What you just said is, it's so interesting.
Yeah.
How do people get out? How did this crime happen? Who, the first crime you mentioned, still unsolved.
Right.
And how as a human does that not interest you?
Right.
So Carrie, I wanted to ask specifically about the event. Can you
Right.
give people sort of an idea of what a day would look like? And like maybe without giving too much away,
Right.
what type of author would be there or
Well,
something?
yeah, I can. I'm definitely so helping organize the events. Who both have houses in East Hampton are Alafair Burke and AJ Finn, both best-selling authors, and our so far confirmed guest of honors are Michael Connolly, who writes the Lincoln Lawyer and Bosch series, Anthony Horowitz, who writes among the Alex Rider you
Yep.
may have read, and
Yep.
he writes the Magpie Murders, Moonflower Murder series, as well as the Hawthorne. He writes so many. He also wrote for Foyle's War, which people don't know. And he's coming with his wife, and he's actually going to do several panels, which are great. He's going to talk to the teens about the Alex Rider. He and his wife, Jill Green, is his producing partner. She does the Midsummer Murders and all that. So they're going and Magpie Murders are on PBS right now, and she's going to talk about how producing, how that works, getting a book to be produced. And then additionally, we have Lisa Jewell is coming, Riley Sager, Megan Abbott. The list is incredible. So many #1 New York Times bestsellers. Plus Casey Sherman is our true crime. The mayor knows him.
Yeah, I met him in Boston, and when I was actually at the Boston Library researching the Boston Strangler. So my stepdaughter went to college in Boston, so we spent quite a bit of time in Boston. So I've always been interested in true crime, and one of the biggest cases of true crime would be the Boston Strangler. So Casey Sherman actually met me in the library. He wrote a book about it because his aunt was actually murdered by the Boston Strangler.
Wow.
So he's also written a book about Whitey Bulger.
Yep.
Remember him? He's the big
Yeah, they
mob
caught
guy
him.
from
Yeah,
Boston.
they caught him in Florida or a few
Texas, I think they
Texas,
caught
a few
him, or
years ago.
California
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
And so he's very into it. He's going to be here. I think
Yeah.
he's only coming on Saturday. We also have the prosecutor from the Ted Ammon murder, which happened on Middle
Yeah.
Lane,
Mhm.
Janet Albertson. She prosecuted the bad guy and put him away for life.
Oh, wow.
She's going to come and speak on a panel about the murder. The defense attorney who represented him against Janet is also going to be here to talk on the same panel. So that'll be really interesting stuff.
I got so many ideas in my head right
Yeah,
now.
let us know. You should be on the committee.
No, I just think, there's something to be said. I think it was kind of like funny because I think for years there were a lot of true crime fans like yourself, but there was never like groups to join. There was no Facebook. There was no like now Netflix has 2 or 3 documentaries out there that the criminal, not necessarily killer, but criminal was caught via web sleuths. There should be a whole web sleuth thing
Yeah.
at the
True.
thing because, I don't want to curse even though technically we're allowed to, but the show on Netflix is called Don't Blink with Cats. And this criminal was abusing cats. And there were people from 15 different countries, if not more, spending months sleuthing, tiny images and seeing and they caught the guy.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting to say. I mean, I know you're from the policing world, and you're
Right.
probably the last person that would want random web people involved in an investigation.
No, I tell you,
But this happens nowadays. This is how people are helped caught. The police actually use the help of the public now.
I had a great case. We had $500,000 that was stolen from a store that had jewelry that was on consignment. And, we went through the whole staff and couldn't figure out who did this. So then we just started getting old contractors' names. And long story short, I started making phone calls. And I'll never forget it. It was a Friday afternoon. I was making phone calls, and I reached a guy in Pennsylvania, or I'm sorry, it was New Jersey, and I said, hey, I'm Detective so-and-so. I'm looking into this case. And we had a lot of jewelry stolen. And I'm trying to track down this guy that used to work in the store. And the guy says to me, he did it. And I said, well, what makes you think that? He goes, I just had a party the other night for my daughter who turned 16, so we had a sweet 16 birthday party for you. And he had a little too much to drink, and all of a sudden he was dancing and had all his jewelry on. So I said, we'll be right there. So we jumped in the car, we took the victim with us, went to his house. We got there like 10:30 at night. Here's how old this was. They put the VCR on. And there he was, dancing around, and she's like, that's my necklace.
Oh my
That's my
gosh.
ring. It was
Whoa,
amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. So we
Yeah.
wound up recovering in a storage unit. The next day, we wound up recovering half of it. And then we wound up arresting him in Florida. And then the other stuff was pawned in the Bronx, which we never recovered. But
Wow.
very interesting case, and I would have forgot all about it until you
Yeah.
Oh
brought
yeah,
it up.
you never know with
But
crime. It's
people,
incredible.
people help. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they say, the whole like tip line, 99% of tips for like, when the national cases happen, John Benet Ramsey, etc., the really big ones. 99% of tips are going to be garbage. But it is the 1% you have to go through to catch the person. And I'm sure a lot of these panelists and authors and writers can speak to this expertise of investigation.
Oh, it's going to be a
Yeah,
great
it's
event.
gonna be great.
And how,
So excited about it.
No, it sounds
I want to say
incredible.
one more thing
No,
about
please,
it
we
is
still
that
have
we're
plenty of
also
time.
going to be having a panel in Spanish, and this is going to be an initiative to really target our Spanish-speaking audience. We want them included, and we're going to have, high school. It is the week of public school vacation, so that's why we're going to keep the cost very low, maybe $10 for these panels, because we want this to be for our community, all members, second homeowners, locals, anybody in our community. And everything is going to take place in East Hampton Village, walking distance. It's not going to be like other festivals, which you're in Sag Harbor, you're in Southampton. This is put on by the East Hampton Village and the East Hampton Village Foundation. So, and we're open to suggestions if people out there have ideas, if people or want to get involved.
Yeah.
And our website is hamptonswhodoneit.com.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great.
It's,
That's a great name.
It's going to be a great event. It was a great idea.
Well,
and,
yeah, it takes a village.
yeah, we're all involved, and
Yeah.
we're all
And the
very
mayor's
excited.
wife is right now organizing the dinners, so we're gonna have fun, sort of crime-inspired dinners. We have restaurants who are working with us, the Palm, the Serafina.
Those will be more than
Rowdy
$10,
Hall.
but
Yeah, those will be more. The dinners will be more to have dinner with these authors, but they'll have some sort of hook to them, which I think will make it, so the day is gonna have something for everyone, and it's not gonna be boring, and it's gonna be, we hope that everybody will be engaged.
yeah, we have most of the events will be taking place in the local inns.
Yeah.
Which is
Oh,
great. So
smart.
they're all
Yeah.
participating.
And the
They have
library.
rooms. Yeah, the library. Unfortunately, Guildhall's closed because of their renovation. So
But next year.
next year they'll be involved.
No, it's a very
Yeah.
good idea. I think, I think everyone's gripe out here, not with the town or the village, just living out here, is the off season of how dead it can be and how hard it is to find community events. And, not for nothing, like, it may not work, but it's trying. We're
Right.
trying stuff. And
Yeah.
that's what it's all about, I think, because it is dark and depressing out here in the winter. And
Right.
as people often say, we forget that there's people out here.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't.
Right.
But
Right.
second homeowners, I remember working a job and someone said, "Is there school out here?" Yes, there's a school out here. Like,
Wow.
where do you think we all go? We just get on a boat and boat away when September hits.
Yeah. Well,
That's funny.
I don't know. I like the downtime now. When I was younger, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
But now I really enjoy when January hits,
Yes.
February.
Getting
because
into restaurants
just,
and,
just to relax a little bit. It's nice. I mean, we're still busy now.
yeah.
I mean, it's busy until New Year's is over.
So we have a minute and a half here. I just want to ask about one topic. What is your? I think both of you supported it in the last the Huntington Inn Village Board work session. But what is your idea with the one way on Mill Road?
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
The biggest reason that those stop signs were installed is because the line of sight issue coming from Main Beach and a car is coming out of that little
Yep.
mill road. So if a car is coming James Lane heading, let's just say east for argument's sake, right? And a car is coming out, it's very difficult for that car coming out of Mill onto James to see the traffic.
Okay.
So by making that a one-way to 27, then it'll flow better.
Yeah.
And I don't think we need those stop signs there anymore.
Okay. And
Which would
Carrie?
be nice
I
to get
agree.
rid of some
Yeah.
signs.
Yeah, those stop signs are a pain.
Yeah.
Time to go.
Yeah, no, that's the
Yeah.
one topic that I wanted to make sure to get to today.
Yeah, and it
because
flow-
it is, stop signs are a big deal. I mean,
And it flows
yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Without the stop signs there, it'll flow because we already have, Dunmere comes out.
Yep.
You make a left on James, then you can get out to 27 because you can't go straight anymore. We blocked that off because we had too many accidents. You can also get to Dunmere or James Lane
Yep.
at the flagpole. So if you're going to church, let's say, you can come in that way, park, and then you can get back out to
That's how it
27,
should be.
or you
Yeah.
can come back in. So, and that road is so tiny,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to pass
Yeah.
two cars at the same time.
Well, thank you guys so much.
I know this always
appreciate
goes
you
so
coming
fast.
on.
I know,
It does
thank
go fast.
you.
We'll,
This is
we'll
fun.
definitely have you on right before the festival.
Great.
But I'm told that Sarah Amundsen may come on with us next. So
Yeah, I'd like to bring Sarah on, and let everybody get to meet Sarah.
Yeah. For Matt Lowndes, Mayor Larsen, Trustee Doyle, and Jason over in the control room, thank you so much, and everyone have a great night.
Thank you.